Let's come to the next stage. The moment the old man says that I have not given anything other than this house, hearing him, one wonders if he has achieved what many have failed in their lifetime. The writer says, hearing him, one wonders if he has achieved what many have failed in their lifetime. Man is saying that I have not achieved anything other than a small house for my family. So the writer says, I am wondering, मैं समझ नहीं पा रही हूँ, मुझे थोड़ा सा सोचना पड़ रहा है कि क्या he has achieved, क्या उसने वो पाया जो मैंने बहुत से लोग अपने जीवन में नहीं कर सकते. हाउस मेकिंग इज नॉट सो सिंपल. Making a house is not an easy job. Buying land, buying a place, a small land, bricks, cement, rods, doors, and so on and so forth, tiles and what not. उसके लिए जितना पैसा लगता है, you must have enough money to make a house. And they are fortunate who have a house of their own. They are very fortunate who have a house of their own. बहुत भाग्यशाली होते हैं जिनका अपना स्वयं का मकान हो, भले छोटा हो. So that is what the writer is saying. I wonder what he has achieved. Is it not an achievement? Because many other people fail to get even that in their lifetime. He has a roof over his head. उसके पास कम से कम छत तो है, अपने सिर को ढकने के लिए उसके पास छत तो है. He has a roof over his head. So even if a small roof, but he has a roof. He is the master of that house. That's a big thing. The cry of not having money to do anything except carry on business of making bangles, not even enough to eat, rings in every home. Now the writer tells her experience from that visit. And she says, the cry, जो दर्द है, जो दुख है, cry means दर्द और दुख. यहाँ पर cry माने रोना भी. जो रोनापन है, जो दुख है, जो दर्द है, the cry of not having money to do anything except carrying on the business of making bangles, not even enough to eat, rings in every house. हर घर में इस बात की आवाज़ आती है, यही आवाज़ आती है दुख की, दर्द की, कि उन घरों के लोगों ने अपनी ज़िंदगी में केवल बैंगल मेकिंग किया, उसके अलावा 1 जून का पर्याप्त भोजन भी नहीं जुटा पाए. दिस इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस लाइन. Not even enough to eat, rings in their ears, rings in their houses. Ring होना मतलब बजना. घर घर में यही आवाज़ है. Everywhere, the same sound, that it is ringing in their ears. The young men echo the lament of their elders. Lament करना यानी पछतावा होना. Echo मतलब प्रतिध्वनि. ECHO, echo माने प्रतिध्वनि. जब हम, when we in a room we shout loudly, you get some echo. The voice comes back to you sometimes. Echo. हम बोलते हैं ना घश कि echo हो रहा है, मतलब आवाज़ का गूंजना. So the same voice echo in every house. कौन सा? Young men everywhere, they say the same thing. और they echo the lament of their elders. अपने से बड़े लोगों का जो पछतावा है कि हम केवल बैंगल मेकिंग कर पाए, उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं, ये पछतावा सभी बुजुर्ग, सभी यंग लोगों में है, सभी युवा लोगों में ये पछतावे की भावना है. सभी लोग यही बात करते हैं. Everyone is unhappy, everyone is sad, everyone is dejected with life, not happy in life. The young men echo the lament of their elders. अफसोस, lament, अफसोस, माँ बाप के जो अफसोस है उसको ये लोग यंग लोग भी बोलते हैं, वही चीज़ें बोलते हैं कि हमें भी अफसोस है। लिटिल हैज़ मूव्ड विथ टाइम इट लुक्स इन फिरोज़ाबाद। ऐसा लगता है कि फिरोज़ाबाद में कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं बदला है। वही ढर्रे पर, नथिंग हैज़ चेंज इन लाइफ इन फिरोज़ाबाद। Same thing happening. So while Sahib's life is about Seemapuri, Mukesh and his family's life is about Firozabad. While Sahib Seemapuri is known for rag picking, rag pickers, while main profession of Seemapuri is rag picking, the main profession of people in Firozabad is bangle making. See the difference in their lives, their thinking, and see also the commonness in their life. दोनों में समानता क्या है और दोनों में विरोधाभास क्या है, दोनों में विभिन्नता क्या है, इसको देखिए। Little has moved with time. It looks in फिरोज़ाबाद। फिरोज़ाबाद में कुछ नहीं बदला है, समय के साथ कुछ नहीं बदला है। इतने लंबे काल में nothing has changed. After going through the lanes and by-lanes of Firozabad, those galiya of Firozabad, the writer further says, the years of mind-numbing toil. Toil means kathor shram. Toil, toil. We must toil hard to achieve success. Toil means kathor shram. We all must toil, not work, but toil. Kathin shram. If we want to succeed, the best way is that we must toil. Here the writer says, mind-numbing toil. To numb करना means सुन्न कर, दिमाग को सुन्न कर देने वाली कड़ी मेहनत. Mind-numbing toil. To numb, the body has become very numb. My hand has become numb. मतलब ये सुन्न हो गया है. In paralysis, your hand, somebody's hand who has a paralysis, his hand becomes numb. In cold, the skin becomes numb. Extreme cold, the skin becomes numb. So in mind-numbing toil, दिमाग को सुन्न कर देने वाली कठोर मेहनत में mind-numbing toil have killed all initiative and the ability to dream. This is the key sentence of this stage of story. That they work hard for years, long time. They are fully into bangle making. Their Sahib is fully into rag picking and then becomes a kind of tea boy in a tea stall. But this hard labor over the years, it kills their initiative. It kills their ability to dream. सपना लेने की जो क्षमता है वो खो देते हैं क्योंकि पूरे समय उसी में लगते हैं. सपना लेने के लिए भी समय चाहिए. In order to dream, you should have time for yourself. When you are thinking about yourself, then you are thinking big. Then you are dreaming. And you have to dream. To dream is not a crime. Not to work for that dream is big crime. We must dream. APJ Abdul Kalam, the very eminent President of India, late President of India, he spoke about dream. And he said that we must dream big. हमें बड़े सपने देखने चाहिए. But here the author says these people, the bangle makers, are so busy in their work, toiling for years, for long hours, that make their mind benumb, जिससे उनका दिमाग सुन्न हो जाता है. They lose that very ability to dream. They lose their ability to dream. अपनी सोचने की क्षमता खो बैठते हैं. सपना लेने की क्षमता खो बैठते हैं. सपने के लिए सोचना होता, सोचने की क्षमता खो बैठते हैं. What happens next? Why not organize yourself into a cooperative I ask a group of young men who have fallen into the virtual circle of middlemen who trapped their fathers and forefathers. It's a very long line. See, in inverted comma, the author says something to a group of men who are around. What does she say? Why not organize yourself into a cooperative? अपने को एक सहकारी संस्था के सहकारी ग्रुप क्यों नहीं बनाते? कोऑपरेटिव सहकारी संघ. Why not organize yourself into a cooperative? अपने को एक कोऑपरेटिव के जैसा ग्रुप क्यों नहीं बनाते? कोऑपरेटिव क्या है? You know, some 30-40 years back, the milk in India, the production was good. But people did not know where to sell the milk and how to sell the milk. They would go from door to door and whatever they could sell, that's fine, otherwise rest is all wasted. So milkmen were going to the same houses. People have already bought milk from other people. The third man goes, he learns that somebody has already supplied milk in those houses. And so there would be surplus of milk being thrown. So one man comes forward and starts a cooperative of milkmen in a place called Anand in Gujarat. गुजरात आनंद में एक कोऑपरेटिव शुरू होता है, सहकारी संघ शुरू होता है, जिसमें मिल्कमैन लोग they decide that they will all bring their milk here at one place. And from here it will be sent to different places. It will be distributed properly. And it will be made sure that all milk is sold. And then the profit will be distributed among those who have brought milk. So they don't have to run from shop to shop, from house to house. They just have to bring milk here. And from here, another set of people will sell it in specified areas, bring money, and will distribute it among those who have brought milk after taking some share from it. This is called cooperative. आपने सुना होगा कोऑपरेटिव बैंक, ऐसे कोऑपरेटिव डेयरी. अमूल जो है, अमूल is nothing but cooperative. AMUL. Find out what is the full form of AMUL. It is the first cooperative for milk production in India. And thereafter, the milk production in India has not only gone up, but there is no wastage of milk. अमूल का full form क्या है थोड़ा देखें. AMUL. A stands for Anand. Anand is the place in Gujarat where Mr. Kurian started this cooperative. For your knowledge, let me tell you, Mr. Kurian, he started this cooperative. Well, so to coming back to this point, the writer also tells these young people, why don't you organize and start a cooperative? सहकारी संस्था क्यों नहीं बनाते? और मालूम पड़ता है कि these people, they had already fallen into the circle of middlemen. ऐसे दलालों के बीच में लोग फंस गए थे जिनसे उनके पिताजी और पिताजी के पिताजी लोगों ने इनसे पैसा उधारी लेकर अपना काम शुरू किया था. और जब इन दलालों के बीच में, इन साहूकारों के बीच में फंसते हो, टू ट्रैप मतलब फंसना, घेरे में आ जाना. टू ट्रैप. आई हैव ट्रैप्ड ए रैट. आई ट्रैप्ड द थीफ. मैंने चोर को घेर लिया. ट्रैप कर देना. सो these young boys with whom I was talking, the narrator says, their father, their forefather, they had already taken loans and money from these sahukars and these middlemen. Middlemen matlab dalal, for their business, small money. And they were paying back also, but the money will never stop because interest will go on adding. ब्याज जुड़ते जाता है. So that was a big problem that these people were trapped in the hands of middlemen and such people who would loan out money to them. Even if we get organized, we are the ones who will be hauled up by the police. Now see the line. This is the turning point of the story. The moment lady asks, the writer asks, why don't you get organized? Somebody replies back, what? Even if we get organized, police will come to us, they will beat us. They will drag us to jail for not doing something illegal. This is a point to be noted, that police is doing illegal work. That is what they are talking. The job of the police is to enforce law. But here these young boys say that system is so bad that police is involved in illegal work and they will force us to do illegal work. So sad. So this story here is now turning into becoming a message to us all that system is bad. There is something wrong with the system. These boys, these families are poor not because they are not working, not because they are bad in character, not because they are not hard working, but because of something else also. And that something else is the system. Why not organize? The moment this question comes, somebody replies back, what to organize? Even if we get organized, we are the ones who will be hauled. Haul माने हमें पकड़ के घेर लिया जाएगा. We will be hauled by the police. हमें पुलिस घेर लेगी, पकड़ लेगी, इकट्ठा कर लेगी, पकड़ के ले आएगी. We will be hauled by the police and dragged into the jail. जेल में हमको डाल देगी. ड्रैग करना मतलब धक्का देना, खींचते हुए ले जाना. To drag, don't drag the table. Don't drag the topic. टॉपिक को मत खींचो. Don't drag your lecture. अपने भाषण मत खींचो. Don't drag your answer. अपना उत्तर मत लंबा खींचो. Write to the point. बिंदुवार लिखो. Don't drag it. जबरदस्ती खींचना. यहाँ पर police will drag me. That is what they said. And they will force us to do illegal work. और ऐसा गलत काम कराएगी और गलत काम का बहाना लेकर उनको जेल में डाल देगी. यानी पुलिस इज ऑल्सो इन्वॉल्व इन बैड थिंग्स. बिहेवियर ऑफ द पुलिस फोर्सेस मैनी यंग पीपल टू डू रॉन्ग. That is what the system they are talking about. They say there is no leader among them. Writer says I found कि उनके बीच में कोई लीडर नहीं है. क्यों? जो भी लीडर बनेगा पुलिस विल कैच हिम फर्स्ट. जो भी लीड करेगा पुलिस विल कैच हिम. टू लीड माने आगे बढ़ना, उससे बना लीडर. जो आगे आगे चले वो लीडर है. सो पुलिस विल, दे से that there is no leader among us, no one who could help them see things differently. The writer says, इन बच्चों से बात करते हुए, while talking to these youths, I found that there is no one who is a leader. I found that there is no one who can give them direction, who can guide them, who can make them think in a different way. They are all thinking, what? We will be organized and police will take us to the jail. But who will make them understand that no, there can be some other way to improve? Their fathers are as tired as they are. The lady further says, the writer further says कि इनके जो पिताजी हैं वो लोग भी इतने थक गए हैं सब करते हुए जितने ये लोग थके हुए थे जिनसे मैं बात कर रही हूँ. The people I am talking to, they are tired and their fathers were also very tired. Their parents were also very tired. Tired मतलब थक जाना. They talk endlessly in a spiral that moves from poverty to apathy to greed and to injustice. I repeat this line. They talk endlessly. कोई अंत नहीं. बातचीत करते बताते रहते हैं. When I am trying to find out their problems, when I am trying to look for their problems, they go on talking. Because there are plenty to say. उनके पास बहुत चीज़ें कहने के लिए. And they talk endlessly. They talk about what? एक स्पाइरल की तरह, कुंडली की तरह. they talk about poverty. गरीबी की बात करेंगे, वहाँ से चलते चलते वो apathy means किसी के प्रति अच्छी भावना ना होना, apathy. They will talk about greed, लालच, लोभ. Greed means लालच, लोभ. And they will talk about injustice, अन्याय. जैसे the moment I start talking to these children about how to get organized, the moment I tell them to change themselves, the moment I tell them to change their mindset, they will go on speaking about these things: injustice, greed, apathy, poverty, and what not. Because that is what they have been seeing all their life. Listening to them, I see two distinct worlds. This is the last, very most powerful paragraph of the story. Listening to them, उनको सुनते हुए, I see two distinct worlds. Distinct means अलग अलग, clearly अलग अलग. मैं दो दुनिया देखती हूँ. Listening to them, I see two distinct worlds. मैं दो अलग अलग दुनिया देखती हूँ. One of the family caught in a web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born. I see two different types of world. When I'm talking to these youths, when I'm thinking of Sahib, Mukesh, Savita, the grand old mother, the old father, and so on and so forth. When I'm looking at Simapuri, when I'm looking at Firozabad lanes and by lanes, I see two different types of world. One world where people are deep in poverty, people are extremely poor, caught in a web of poverty. Web means जाल, मकड़ी का जाल, कॉब वेब. मकड़ी के जाल को क्या बोलते हैं? जाले को कॉब वेब. I see web of poverty. Poverty के चक्र में फंसे हुए हैं. No money, so no growth. And also, they are also burdened by the stigma of caste. Stigma means dhabba. Stigma means dhabba. जाति का धब्बा जो उनमें लगा है, निम्न जाति के होने का, वो और गरीबी, एक दुनिया ऐसी है. And the other world, the other a vicious circle of sahukar, the middlemen, the policemen, the keepers of law. और एक दुनिया में देखती हूँ जहाँ पर एक विशस सर्किल है, एक ऐसा चक्र जिसे हम कह सकते हैं विषम चक्र. विशस सर्किल मतलब विषम चक्र. एक ऐसा सर्कल है जिसमें साहूकार हैं, पुलिस है, उसके बाद दलाल लोग हैं, और उसके बाद पुलिस जो कीपर्स ऑफ लॉ हैं, कानून के जो रखवाले हैं, वे लोग भी इस विशस सर्कल में शामिल हैं. साहूकार तो हैं ही, जो लोग पैसे का लेन देन करते हैं, पैसे का धंधा करते हैं. Those people who give money and take interest for the money that they give, they are called साहूकार. They are called the people who lend money, जो पैसा उधारी में देते हैं, in return for some interest, ब्याज के एवज में. So साहूकार्स are there, middlemen are there, dalals are there, and the policemen, the keepers of law are there. So one world is of the people who are facing poverty, who are facing the problem of caste, and the other world is of the people who are powerful. Powerful, power of money, power of post, sahukar, powers of money, and policemen, power of post, middlemen, power of money and post both. These two worlds are starkly opposed to each other. ये जो दो दुनिया हैं, ये बिल्कुल एक दूसरे से अलग. One is the world of grave poverty, helplessness, and another is the world of power. And unfortunately, The one with power and money are exploiting these people. To exploit means शोषण करना. And because of this exploitation, because of this शोषण, because of the fact that these powerful people exploit these, the other world people are not able to grow. They do not know where to start from. Not only that, the writer says that sahukars, middlemen, policemen who are keepers of law are also helped by bureaucrats and politicians. Bureaucrats matlab नौकरशाही. Bureaucrats. See the spelling of the word bureaucrat. B-U-R-E-A-U. But pronunciation is bureau. B-U-R-E-A-U. Pronunciation, उच्चारण जो है वो bureau है. Bureaucrats and politicians. इनके साथ नौकरशाही यानी सरकारी अफसर और इनके साथ नेता लोग भी मिले हुए रहते हैं. So the point is that all these people who have power, they are on one side and they are sucking these poor people. उनको चूस रहे हैं. Together they have imposed the baggage on the child that he cannot put down. एक साथ मिलकर, together, एक साथ मिलकर, they have imposed the baggage on the child. एक साथ मिलकर इस गुट के लोगों ने उसके ऊपर भार डाल दिया है, एक बच्चे के ऊपर. ऐसा भार जिसे वो हटा नहीं सकता. Together they have imposed लादना. To impose means लादना. एक साथ मिलकर bureaucrats, politicians, policemen, साहूकार, middlemen, they have come together like a caucus. They have come together like a mafia, and they have imposed the baggage on the child that he cannot put down. Baggage means vajan. Before he is aware, he accepted as naturally as his father. The writer says, इससे पहले वो बच्चा जागता है, समझने लगता है. To be aware means समझने लगना. To be aware means समझने लगना. इससे पहले कि बच्चा समझने लगता है, वो स्वीकार कर लेता है कि जो भी है वह नेचुरल है, स्वाभाविक है. यानी साहूकारों का बिहेवियर, पुलिसमैन का बिहेवियर, पॉलिटिशियंस का बिहेवियर, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स का जो भी बिहेवियर है, ये लोग जो भी करते हैं वो स्वाभाविक है. सो बैड. हाउ कुड बी नेचुरल? They are behaving like big bosses just because they are in power, just because they have money, and not because this is what they are supposed to do. So, writer says, before he is aware, he means the child, before the child is aware, he accepted as naturally as his father. ये जो ग्रुप का जो बिहेवियर है, इसको वो स्वाभाविक मानता है, वैसे ही जैसे उसके पिताजी मानते थे. प्राकृतिक स्वाभाविक बर्ताव मानता है इनका. पुलिस वाला आएगा, वो डंडा तो मारेगा ही. द पुलिसमैन इज बाउंड टू ड्रैग. द पुलिसमैन इज बाउंड टू फोर्स मी टू डू इलीगल वर्क. इफ आई डोंट ओबे पुलिस ऑर्डर, ही विल पुट मी टू जेल फॉर नो रीजन. The middleman will go on making money out of the money that I have borrowed from him. The politician will also show his power. He will show his netagiri and what not. This is all natural to these people who live in a place like Simapuri, who live in places like Firozabad and working at that level. Money-less people, powerless people. To do anything else would mean to dare. Dare मतलब बहादुरी दिखाना, चेतावनी देना. To do anything else means to dare. यदि वो कुछ और करेगा तो इसका मतलब अपना साहस दिखाने वाली बात, यानी दुस्साहसी. ये कुछ भी और मैं करूं तो एक दुस्साहस होगा. दुस्साहस बुरा होता है. और कुछ और मतलब क्या? If I question these people, the people of the other world, the people of the politicians, the people, policemen, the people means sahukar, if I question them, if I ask them the reasons for their behavior, if I don't obey them, that will be something like दुस्साहस, that will be something like daring. एक दुस्साहस ही होगा. And you know what happened? And daring is not part of his growing up. Author says very sadly, author says very apologetically, बहुत अफसोस करते हुए ऑथर कहती हैं कि ऐसा दुस्साहस दिखाना इन लोगों की कल्पना के बाहर है. एंड डेयरिंग इज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ देयर ग्रोइंग अप. उनका जो वार्धक्य हुआ है, वो लोग जो ग्रो हुए हैं, उनका जो बचपना है और जो युवा बने हैं, they have never learned what is daring. They have not learned to be bold. They have not learned to challenge the system. It is something beyond their thinking. उनकी सोच के बाहर है, because they have been constantly working in those small dingy rooms. They had no time to think of anything other than just trying to struggle to make 2 meals. So it is beyond their thinking to challenge these people. Daring is not a part of their growing. उनके वार्धक्य का, उनकी ग्रोथ का हिस्सा ऐसा दुस्साहस कभी नहीं रहा. When I sense a flash of it in Mukesh, I am cheered. The writer says, when I sense, जब मैं देखती हूँ, महसूस, सेंस करना मतलब महसूस करना. Our body has 5 senses, जिनसे हम महसूस करते हैं. चमड़ी, आँख, नाक की गंध, जीभ का स्वाद, इन 5 चीज़ों से हम सेंस करते हैं, महसूस करते हैं. So when I sense a flash of it, इस दुस्साहस का थोड़ा सा मुझे मुकेश में कुछ दिखाई देता है. ए फ्लैश, कैमरे का फ्लैश क्या होता है? लाइट 1 सेकंड में आती है और चली जाती है. दैट इज कॉल्ड फ्लैश. बहुत तेजी से लाइट का चले जाना. तो व्हेन आई सी ए फ्लैश ऑफ दिस दुस्साहस इन मुकेश की बात में मेरे तो थोड़ा सा दुस्साहस का फ्लैश दिखाई देता है. आई feel happy. I feel very happy. I am very cheered. Cheered मतलब happy. मुझे बड़ी खुशी होती है क्योंकि मैं मुकेश के चेहरे में थोड़ा सा ऐसा दिखाई देता है कि वो थोड़ा सा दुस्साहस कर सकता है. Because Mukesh very boldly he said, I want to be a car driver. I want to work independently. I don't want to work under a master. I want to be a boss of myself. He said that ना कि मैं कार ड्राइवर बनना चाहता हूँ, अपना खुद मैकेनिक बनना चाहता हूँ और मैकेनिक बन के फिर मैं अपनी खुद काम करूँगा. There will be no one to tell me what to do and what not to do. So that is why author is talking about Mukesh, and she says that that kind of dussahar, that kind of daring, I can see somewhat in Mukesh. I want to be a motor mechanic. He repeats. फिर वो दोहरा रहा है मुकेश यहाँ पर, मैं तो मोटर मैकेनिक बनना चाहता हूँ. He will go to a garage and learn, but the garage is a long way from his home. मैं गराज जाऊँगा, वहाँ सीखूँगा. Writer says again, but garage is a long way. गराज बहुत दूर है. Says Mukesh. Mukesh says that I want to be a motor mechanic, but the garage is a long way. Writer says from his home. तुम्हारे घर से तो गराज बहुत दूर है, writer says. Immediately Mukesh says, he doesn't think twice. वो थोड़ा भी नहीं सोचता. और राइटर के ये कहने पर कि गराज तो तुम्हारे घर से बहुत दूर है, मुकेश immediately says, I'll walk, no problem. So bold, so quick. A boy having dream. He has a dream, he has a passion. He has the courage. He is willing to face the tough world. He is willing to challenge. And so he says, I'll walk. Again he says, do you also dream of flying a plane? I ask, क्या तुम प्लेन उड़ाने का भी सपना देखते हो? जब मैंने ऐसा पूछा, he becomes silent. वो चुप हो जाता है. The moment I ask, when I ask, what do you do? What would you like to do? He says, I would like to be a mechanic. When I say, well, the garage is very far away, he says, I'll walk down. When she says, and he says, walk down, and he says very proudly. But when the writer asks, do you wish to fly a plane? Do you also want to be a plane driver, plane pilot? Do you wish to fly a plane? The moment she says that, Mukesh's face becomes sullen. He becomes quiet. He becomes quiet, becomes silent and says no. No, 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 no. He says no, 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 no. Staring at the ground, जमीन को stare करना मतलब घूरना. To stare, S-T-A-R-E. घूरना. He is staring at me. वो आदमी मुझे घूर रहा है. The policeman is staring at me. पुलिस वाला घूर रहा है. और सीढ़ी को भी stare कहते हैं. Even the सीढ़ी is called a stair, but the spelling of सीढ़ी is S-T-A-I-R, and here the spelling is S-T-A-R-E. Stair, S-T-A-I-R, stair is a noun, it means सीढ़ी, ladder. And there S-T-A-R-E, stair means घूरना. So he stares at the ground and he says, no, 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 I don't want to fly. No, 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 no. He is suddenly silent. और चुप हो जाता है. In his small murmur, there is an embarrassment that has not yet turned into regret. वो कुछ मुनमुनाता है और उसमें एक अफसोस है, एक embarrassment है, एक संशय है, एक तरीके से उसके मन में हिचक है. और वो कहता है, उसकी बात से ऐसा लगता है कि उसको अफसोस नहीं है, लेकिन एक it has not turned into regret. Regret means afsos. Embarrassment means sankoch. Embarrassment. और regret means afsos. लेकिन ऐसा लगता है, the author says कि when I said this and he said no, 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 he started looking to the ground, staring at the ground, जमीन को घूरने लगा. So he looked embarrassed, but no regret. कोई अफसोस नहीं था. क्या किस बात का अफसोस नहीं था कि मैं प्लेन नहीं उड़ा सकता, इस बात का उसको अफसोस नहीं था. He is content to dream of cars. To be content, if I told you earlier, to be content means संतुष्ट होना. He is content with dreaming the cars. Content to dream of cars. वो कार का सपना देखने में संतुष्ट है. That he sees hurling down the street of his town. हर्लिंग डाउन, आवाज के साथ निकल जाना. हर्टल करते हुए, हर्टलिंग डाउन, निकल रही. जो उन कारों का सपना देखता है जो उसके सामने से शहर में निकलती रहती हैं, शहर की सड़कों पर दौड़ती रहती हैं. दैट ही सीज हर्टलिंग डाउन द स्ट्रीट ऑफ हिज टाउन. द लास्ट लाइन इज, फ्यू एयरप्लेन्स फ्लाई ओवर फिरोजाबाद. बहुत कम प्लेन उड़ते हैं फिरोजाबाद के ऊपर. एंड ही इज हैप्पी अबाउट टॉकिंग अबाउट कार. दैट मीन्स ही इज ड्रीमिंग, ही इज लिटिल डेयरिंग ऑल्सो, बट देन दैट ऑल्सो हैज ए लिमिट. उसकी भी एक सीमा है. वो प्लेन उड़ाने का सपना नहीं देख पा रहा. ही इज नॉट एबल टू ड्रीम ऑफ फ्लाइंग द प्लेन. वाई? You should have big dreams. So the author says, unfortunately, he is very strong about becoming, unfortunately, while he is very strong about becoming a motor mechanic, becoming independent, while he is dreaming about being motor mechanic, he is not dreaming about flying the plane. This regrets, अफसोस, he murmurs, वो भुनभुनाता है. To murmur means भुनभुनाना. In his small murmur, there is an embarrassment but no regrets. एक संकोच है. किस बात का संकोच? कि मैं प्लेन उड़ाने का सपना नहीं देख सकता. मेरी सीमा कार तक ही है. मेरे सोचने की सीमा, I can think of driving a car, but to think of flying the plane is something not possible for me, because I cannot think of flying a plane. Writer says, this may be wrong. You must dream big. So this is the message out of this story. This story has several stages, and writer goes on speaking about different sets of people living in dire poverty, working in a very shanty places, living in filth, living in small dingy rooms with no facilities whatsoever. And Simapuri and Firozabad are not two towns only. There are hundreds of such places across the country, thousands of such places all over the country, and lakhs of families living like this in India. So the writer is speaking about this India, which is there mentioned for Sahib, which is mentioned for Savita, and which is also described for Mukesh. This is one part of India. And the other India, the other world, is the power of the rich, the power of the powerful people that live in cities, that live in big towns, the people who have, and here are the people who do not have. So haves and have-nots, these two different worlds is beautifully described in this story. And at the end, in this story, the writer successfully succeeds fully in telling the readers that we must dream, like Mukesh, that we must have aim, ambition, like Mukesh has. We must not be something like Sahib-e-Alam, who had a small dream. He was happy moving from rag picker to the shopkeeper, but he was unhappy at not being the master now. He had to work under someone. And here Mukesh was dreaming of becoming independent. And so, dear friends, hope you understood the message behind this story. And the message is loud and clear. Have big dreams. Work hard to achieve those dreams. Toil for it. And sky is the limit for it. Why dream of just car mechanic? Why dream of just driving the car? Dream of flying the plane. And we all can reach if we work hard. Having completed this beautiful story with a lot of message, now we come to the end of it by way of some questions, some important questions. I'm not going to the detail of the answer, but I'll just give small hints to some of these questions that I read out for you over here. But these questions apart, you must learn this story para by para. So here are few questions. The first one is very important one. What is the message of the writer, Mrs. Anis Jung, in this story? Message by the writer in this story. Now this is the question related to the end part of the story. But the end part is most important, and that's why I have taken it first. For the answer, you must listen to the last part of the story, wherein I have explained that the message given is about the two worlds. And from there on, I say the message is about dreaming big. So with this question can be beautifully answered. The next question. The next question for this chapter is, what do you mean by lost spring? Whom is the author talking about in this, through this title? What do you mean by the lost spring? Whom do you think is the author talking about when she says the lost spring? The answer is very simple. The lost spring is about the loss of childhood. Spring is metamorphically used for childhood. And lost means, having lost it means they did not get it. They did not get what? The children did not get their childhood. Why the spring is lost? The writer speaks about loss of spring or loss of childhood by talking about these 3-4 children who are mentioned in the story. Namely, Sahib, Mukesh, Savita, etc. And then you have to describe about the background of these children. That they are working hard, they are toiling, they are struggling for survival. They are not able to make 2 meals. They did not have full meals even once in their lifetime. So you have to include their condition in your answer, their living condition, the kind of squalor they live in, the kind of dingy houses they live in, the kind of struggle they do, struggle for livelihood, struggle for survival, struggle to save themselves from going blind and what not. Struggle in terms of fallen, broken roofs, crumbled houses, poor drainage, no drinking water. That you have to describe in a brief way. The third question, what is Firozabad famous for? And through Firozabad, what does the writer want to say? What is Firozabad famous for? And through Firozabad, what does the writer want to say? The answer is Firozabad famous for bangles in UP, center of Bengal industry in India, that you know. And now the question that is there, next part is, what is the message? What does she want to speak about Firozabad? You have to describe the conversation that takes place between the writer and Mukesh's family at Mukesh's house. In order to describe the condition of Firozabad and the people living there, please look into that part of the story where the writer is present in the Mukesh's house and the kind of questions she asks to the family members of Mukesh and the answer she gets. At the same time, you will also get answer to this question, a part of it, from what she narrates about what she sees. Whatever she has seen, she narrates it. She saw dingy lanes. She saw firewood being used, smoky houses. She saw lantern being used, oil lamps for work. She found almost blind father of Mukesh, and she found that bangle making job is extremely difficult, yet it is so common in every lane and by lane. She also narrates about the health problems of the people that may be facing, that they are facing there, and so on and so forth. The last question, the fourth and the last question in this chapter is, compare Mukesh with the other people, his friends, and give your opinion about Mukesh. The question is, compare Mukesh with others of his friends or his other friends, and give your impression about Mukesh. Give your impression about Mukesh, your impression, based on this story. So what is the answer? When you compare, it is in two parts, this question. First is comparison. Sahib is content with whatever he is getting. 800 rupees containing canister, getting milk, helping out the tea stall master. No dream, no big things. Mukesh, not content. At the same time, Mukesh wants to be independent. Mukesh wants to be car mechanic. Mukesh wants to be car driver. And Mukesh is dreaming. Savita, he is just working on bangle making. Mind is numb. She just doesn't know even what for is the bangle being made. That is what writer says. So you have to compare their behavior. And then the next part of the question is, give your impression about Mukesh. That means, what do you think of Mukesh from this story? So the answer is, from this story, we learn that Mukesh is little courageous. Mukesh is little bold. Mukesh has little daring. And Mukesh also dreams. We also learn that Mukesh is expressive. And at the same time, though he dreams, he knows his level. He knows that he cannot think of flying a plane, and so that's why he keeps mum. That means he is very realistic. His feet are on the ground. He knows his limits. He knows his environment. He knows his own condition. And from those conditions, he knows that he will come out to become what he aims to be. That is, own a car mechanic workshop, be a car mechanic himself, be a car driver, learn to drive the car. Because if you learn to drive the car, then only you will become better mechanic. And he is confident of achieving it, because when Anis Jung, the writer, says that the garage is far away, he says, I'll walk down. So unlike Sahib, unlike Savita, Mukesh is also confident. So you have to speak about the character of Mukesh and compare that with those of the other two characters in the story, and conclude that Mukesh is certainly an example for all young people. And at the same time, we must not lose heart. We must have confidence in our ability, in our dream.